What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today we got the Super Cub in the shop, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through how to lap a valve. We noticed when we did a little bit of a compression test that one of the cylinders on the Cub here was a little bit lower on compression, and we heard some airflow coming through the exhaust, which means obviously the exhaust valve has either some corrosion on it, or it could be the guides or something like that. But what we're going to do today is we're going to try and lap a valve to try to get some of that compression up, get a little bit better, a little bit better seat on it, so that it seals a little bit better. I've had a lot of success in the past to get it to work, so it brings up the compression a little bit, kind of creates a little bit better seal. So since I'm going to be doing this, I might as well just kind of show you guys the whole process that we go through as far as lapping a valve and what's all involved and what all the stuff that you're going to need to do it is. So maybe I can help you guys out in learning how to do this. Hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys learn something. So let's get after it. So the first thing we need to do in this project is we got to get this cowling off so that we can access the cylinders and all that. So the next step in this process is to do a compression check, and what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and take out all of the bottom plugs, just to do one all the way around or whatever. Because it's on this plane, it's actually a lot easier to just get them right here at the bottom. It really doesn't matter to do it top or bottom. I just don't want to crawl up there. You'd have to stand on the pedestal here to do it. So I'm going to get the bottom ones out, and we'll start that compression check and see where we're at. Okay, so I got all of the plugs out of there, and the next step is to do a compression check on all the cylinders. So what I'm going to do, and I don't know if you guys know this, or some of you probably do, some of you don't, but what we're looking for is 80 psi on each cylinder. That's kind of that's kind of our max or whatever. So I'll set the gauge to 80 psi, and then I'll get the cylinder up to top dead center, and we'll just kind of see where it's at and get those hard numbers and go from there. So for you guys out there who have never done a compression test or don't know the procedures on how to do it, I actually made a video a little while back where I kind of go through the whole process and explain the steps on what to do and what to look for during the compression test. So what I'll do is I'll link a video to it, I don't know, here or wherever. So if you have any questions on what I'm doing, you can just reference that video. We're going to start with cylinder one. I have the cylinder set at top dead center. What I'm going to do now is set this gauge to 80 psi. I'll readjust it as I put it on the cylinder and kind of give it pressure or whatever and make sure it's at 80 psi. But let's see what cylinder one is at. Okay, cylinder one, we're looking at about 73 psi. I'd say that's pretty good. And I don't hear any leaks or anything like that, so I think that cylinder right there is pretty good. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Yeah, that's top dead center right there. Go ahead and get this hooked up, and I always make sure and hold the prop. I don't want that thing spinning as you introduce air. So get some air in here. And already I can hear that coming through the exhaust pretty significantly. Oh yeah. There's nothing there. Yeah, there's definitely, I can feel that. And we're sitting at about 48 psi, so yeah, that one definitely needs some work. Let's move on to the next ones and see what they say. So we're looking at 79 on this one. So after doing the compression test, all the other cylinders, they look pretty good. Cylinder 2 is at 79, which is pretty awesome. Cylinder 4 is at 75, and they're all really good. So the only trouble one is cylinder 3. What I did is I went ahead and grabbed that other spark plug out the top. I took the the cover off here. And then what I did is I grabbed my boroscope, I put it in there, and I got a video for you guys to see, and I put it in there just to check that valve, to see what that seat looks like. And you can see in the boroscope that seat has, I mean, it's got a lot of carbon on it, a lot of buildup on that seat. So what we're going to try to do is clean some of that off there and try to get a nice, we're going to polish it up, try to get all that off there, and polish it up so that it has a nice solid seal to it. So I guess the next step in this process is to put a bunch of rope inside that cylinder. What that's going to do is when we put the rope in there, we'll have the cylinder all the way at the bottom, dead center. We'll go ahead and fill it up, and then we can use that rope to compress against the valve, so the valve don't fall into the cylinder when we go ahead and take that spring off. All right, so what I have here is my valve lapping kit, and in this kit is everything that you're gonna need to lap a valve. So I'm gonna go over this and show you guys so you guys know. You're gonna need some rope. I'm gonna show you what this is for, but you put the rope inside the cylinder so that you don't drop the valve in the cylinder. You're gonna need some tubing here. You're gonna need valve or hose clamps. You're gonna need the smaller ones. Make sure you get the smaller ones. They go around the hose nice and snug. You are going to need some grinding paste. I got this off of Amazon. Actually, I got all this stuff off of Amazon. It wasn't even that expensive. So what's cool about this one is that this side is coarse and then this side is fine. So obviously when you start, you wanna use coarse to get all that crud off there, and then you wanna polish it up with the fine. You're also going to need these things. And they come in these packs like this, and they're just big, like big Q-tips, and that's what you use to get in there and you know, put the compound on the valve itself. So a couple other things that you're gonna need. You're gonna need a boroscope, which is what I got here. I really like this one, and I'll show you why. Because the ones that we had before, you had to plug them into an iPad and all that stuff, and you had to bring everything out, plug it in. But this one is kind of cool because it's all self-contained. All I do is just turn it on. You can record, as you'll see later in this video. You can record. You can adjust this so that it swings back and forth. It's got a light on it. It's pretty good. I like it. So you'll need that, and then obviously you'll need a torque wrench, which you're probably going to have anyway because you're working on airplanes and stuff. And I think that's it. That's for like oh no, one more thing. This, you're going to need one of these. And they have different kinds of these. So what this is a valve compressor. I'll show you later in the video how it actually works, but put the bar through there, and then you compress the valve spring, and then you're able to get the valve spring off so that you can get access to the valve and then twist the valve. So those are the things you're gonna need to complete this project. That and, you know, time and patience. All right, let's get after it. Actually, hold on just a minute. So there's one more thing you're gonna need, acetone. This is what you're gonna use to clean up your valves with after you get all that compound and everything on there. What I like to do is we get these little cups, these little plastic cups here. I just pour the acetone in there, and then I just dip the Q-tip thing. I just dip that in there, and then I just clean the valve with it. You'll see later. So I really don't know how much the exact amount of rope that you're supposed to put in here, but all you're really trying to do is just fill the cylinder with rope enough to where when you pull the prop down, it'll compress, and it'll compress against that valve, just making sure that it's not gonna fall back into the cylinder. So that's really all you're doing. All right, so we got the keeper off finally, and then we got the springs off the valve here. And so now all we got is exposed is the valve itself. And you know, we have the rope on the back side of it just kind of holding it in place. So now what I'm gonna do is probably put on the tubing so that the valve doesn't fall in, and then back the valve off, or back the cylinder off, and again get the rope out of the cylinder itself so that we can, you know, start working that valve. But once I do that, once I get all that done, I'm gonna stick the boroscope in there so that we can see the valve and to make it a lot easier to get the compound in there and just kind of see what we're doing really. So that's what I'm gonna do now. All right, so I got a little bit of this tubing here. It's probably, I don't know, 5-6 inches or whatever. And then I got the hose clamp here. So while the rope is in there and the cylinder is compressed against this valve, I'm gonna install this so that it has something to, you know, when I go to push it on there, it's not gonna just fall in the cylinder itself. Slide that on there like that. All right, got the hose on there, and now I just gotta put the hose clamp on there, tighten it down, and then I can take that rope out. That should do it. I don't think that's going anywhere. Awesome. Now all we've got to do is back the cylinder off a little bit, like that. Pretty well compressed down there, and then just pull this out of here. Now I'm gonna grab the borescope, get it in there, and get it set up to where, so we're just gonna get it in there and set it so that it's easy to see the screen and all that as we try to, you know, put the compound in here and work that valve. And then obviously you want the cylinder as far back as possible, top, bottom, center, I believe is what they call it, but that's where you want it. And then you just want to get this in here and adjust it so you can see the backside of that valve. There we go. All right, so I got the borescope in there. It was kind of a little bit of a struggle, but we got it. And then I got the camera up so that we can see the valve pretty clearly. Let me show you what I got. So I used that rod. It helps keep it steady, obviously. And then I zip tied it here to keep it kind of, you know, in place. And then I set the borescope in there, and that's kind of the view that we're gonna get, which is, I mean, that's pretty good. You can kind of see everything you need right there. Okay, so the next step in this process is going to be applying the compound. Now, I have these Q-tip kind of things, whatever, they're like 8 inches long. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna get like a lighter thing here and just kind of melt it and just make sure it gets a nice little bend in there, just like this. Cool it off. And you're probably gonna need, I don't know, like 6 or 7 of these things. So, all right, so we got the compound on here. I went with the first one we're going to do is with the coarse compound. I got the 90 in it. I'm going to stick it in the top here. In the, you can see it on the camera here. This is the top plug hole. And then once I get it in there, I'll be able to spin this, and you'll see it on this camera over here. I'll be able to spin this and then apply that compound here, and then I can just pull the valve and then rub it in like that. And then once that's done, we'll attach the drill, and then we'll spin it for a little while, apply some more compound, spin it for a little while, and then start putting some fine compound on there, and hopefully we got a good sealed valve. We'll find out, either that or we're going to be replacing this whole cylinder, so one way or the other. Put that in there like that. Try to not make a mess. Well, there you go, you can hear it. There we go. Now I got the compound applied there, and if you can listen, you can hear it. Just by moving by my hand, you can hear it grinding like that. You know, you want a drill that's going to fit snug in here. And one key thing to remember is that you want this drill bit to go all the way down in there, like that, because otherwise it'll get loose here and it'll just twist the rubber and possibly break off. One thing to remember is to put this on first, then put this on. Just like that. Then we just got to tighten that down. Then you just pull it snug. You let it rip. Like that. Now I'm going to do this for probably a few minutes, you know, at a moderate speed. And then I'll apply some more compound, try to look at it, more coarse stuff. And, you know, I don't really know exactly how long you need to do it. Just do it for a while, I guess, right? Okay, so we got the valve lapped. We spun it with the coarse a couple of times. We applied a couple of different coats on there, spun that down for a little bit, and then we did a coat of fine, and we spun that down for a little bit. And now all we got to do is get in there and clean all that stuff off. You can see in the video here that we sit around the edges here. We have, you know, we still have some compound and stuff there. So what I'm doing is I got a whole bunch more of these brushes that I bent, and then I got some acetone in here, and I'm just going to rub that in there like that, get a bunch of acetone in there, and just get in there and start cleaning it up. It's like this. You know, you're probably gonna have to do this several times till you get it nice and clean. It's kind of a pain in the butt trying to get it in there, but you just gotta do the best you can. There we go, like that. But we'll do this a few times, try to get, you know, the best we can. So we got the valve pretty well cleaned up. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna stuff that cylinder with this rope again. So I want that valve, or the cylinder, all the way to the bottom dead center so that I can get all this rope in there. And I probably got 2 football fields of rope here. Just kidding. All right, everybody. So I got everything ground down. I got it polished up, and then I got it cleaned up the best I could. It's kind of hard to get in there, but you know, I just tried to work it out and get all that paste and stuff out of there the best I could. So after that, what I did is I put the valve springs on, I put the rocker arms on, and you know, everything else, all the components that go with this whole system. And then, so the only thing I have left to do is is put this gasket on, put the cover on, and then we're gonna test it to see if it actually did anything. So let's get this put on and we'll find out. All right, so now for the moment of truth. Did all of that work that I just did have any effect on this exhaust valve? I have the spark plug up on top already put in there. I have the valve tester one for the bottom put in here. So now all I gotta do is find top dead center. Okay, there's top dead center. Grab my tester, and it's already set to 80 pounds, just like it was before. And if you guys can remember, this valve was at 50 pounds of pressure before we started that whole valve lapping thing. So I'm gonna hook it up now and we'll see what we got. Always hold the prop. Looks like, you know, and I can still hear air coming out of the exhaust, but it did go up a little bit. It's at, you know, I would say it's probably at about 60, 62, 63. Let me show you. So I mean, it did come up a little bit. Maybe after we run it a little bit, it'll kind of clean off some of whatever residue might still be on there. I guess, you know, time will tell. We'll take this out tomorrow morning and give it a run, and then maybe I'll bring it in here and test it again and see where it's at. And if I get a different result, I'll let you guys know. But this is what we got so far. This is what we got right now. Yeah, I mean, it's not where I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be over 70. All right, so what I was saying before the air compressor kicked in is that we went through the process. You know, we did the whole thing, grinded it down, polished it up. And when we tested it, obviously it was at 60, was it 62, 63 pounds. I was hoping for 70 or above, and we still might get there. I think what we're gonna do tomorrow morning is we're gonna fire this thing up. We'll take it around a pattern, fly it a little bit, and then bring it back in, and maybe there was still some like residue still in there, you know, on the seats, maybe some grinding compound. I tried to clean it up the best I could. We'll find out, and if it does improve, I'll let you guys know. So. All right, everybody. So what we did this morning is I got everything put back together and ready to go. And we took the Cub out this morning and just kind of went for a fun little flight. We put about, I would say we probably put about an hour and a half to 2 hours on the engine, just kind of flying around, just having some fun. But what I want to do now is I'm going to take the cowling back off, or just kind of open it up and then take the plug out, and then we're going to check that compression again and see if it came up, or see if it's any different than it was last night. So that's what we're going to do now. Let's just get started. All right, I got everything set up here. The end, I guess, I don't even know what you call that. The end that goes on here, I got that put in there. The top plug is in. I got to find top dead center here, which is right there. Get this hooked up. Okay, that's it. Now let's hope for the best. Let's hope that this came up. I'm looking for at least 70 or higher. That would be fantastic. We'll see. I mean, it came up some. We're looking at probably 60, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, probably 68. I can still hear some air coming through the exhaust, but I mean, that's a lot better than the 50 it was before. All right, so that's the result after we had flown it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours or so. You know, we got a little bit more of an improvement on that. I think it might have just had a little bit of stuff, or had to seat a little bit better. And that's what we're trying to do, get the engine warmed up. You know, get some stuff flowing through that, and just kind of see what it was, the result was after we had done that. And it was just a little bit of an improvement. It wasn't the 70 that I was kind of hoping for, or 70 plus that I was hoping for, but you know, we'll take it. It's a lot better than the 50. So on that note, I think we'll just call it on this video, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Later.